Every morning looks exactly the same. You wake up, maybe put on that familiar pot of coffee, sit in your usual chair, and go about your day just like you have for the last 10, 20, or even 30 years. The routine is comforting. You're eating the same foods, keeping the same schedule, living the exact same life. But lately, there's a quiet difference. Your body isn't staying silent anymore. Maybe you're waking up to use the bathroom at 2 a.m. and then again at 4 a.m. when you used to sleep straight through the night without a second thought. Maybe your shoes feel just a fraction tighter by the late afternoon. Or you're brushing off a strange, lingering tiredness as just another part of getting older. We all do it, don't we? Whether you're a man who has worked hard his whole life, whose hands have built and fixed things, and who fully expects a few aches, or a woman who has always taken care of everyone else, managing the household, the kids, the grandkids, and habitually ignores her own fatigue. We tell ourselves it's just the miles on the engine. We joke about it with our friends. We say, well, the warranty expired at 60. But what if those tiny, almost invisible changes aren't just about the number of candles on your birthday cake? What if they are quiet whispers from a part of your body that never, ever complains until it absolutely has to? Today, we are going to talk about something that works silently in the background of your life every single second. It's a pair of organs that don't demand attention the way a bad knee or an aching back does. We are talking about your kidneys, and we're going to walk through 7 small, everyday ways they try to get your attention before things get serious. Not to scare you, not to make you rush to the medicine cabinet, but to help you understand your own body so you can take care of it with the quiet confidence of someone who knows exactly what to listen for. Think of your body as a house you've lived in for a very long time. You know all its creaks and groans. You know which step on the stairs makes a noise. But deep inside the walls of this house, there is a plumbing and filtration system that runs day and night. Your kidneys are that system. They are 2 bean-shaped marvels, each no bigger than your fist, tucked quietly toward your lower back. Every 30 minutes, they filter all the blood in your entire body. They pull out the waste, balance your minerals, regulate your blood pressure, and keep the whole house running clean. The thing about this system, though, is that it's incredibly stoic. Your kidneys are designed with so much backup capacity that they can lose a significant amount of their function without sending you a single sharp pain. They don't scream. They don't ache. They just quietly try to work through the damage. And because they are so quiet, the signs they send when they are struggling are easily mistaken for something else. Usually, we just sweep these signs under the rug of getting older. Let's look at the very first sign. It usually happens in the middle of the night. You know the feeling. The house is completely dark. The clock on the nightstand reads 3:15 a.m. You roll over, pull the covers up, and try to ignore it. But the urge is there. You have to get up and use the bathroom. Again, for a lot of folks, this is the most easily dismissed change of all. If you're a man in your 60s or 70s, the immediate assumption is almost always the prostate. It's the punchline to 100 jokes among older men. If you're a woman, you might blame it on having had children years ago, or simply that your bladder isn't as strong as it used to be. Or maybe you both just blame that evening cup of chamomile tea or the glass of water you had with your dinner. You tell yourself, I just drank too much liquid before bed. But let's pause and look at what might actually be happening. One of the most important jobs your kidneys have is to concentrate your urine. When you sleep, your body is supposed to slow down urine production so you can get the rest you need. A healthy, fully functioning kidney knows how to filter the waste while holding onto the water, making the urine more concentrated. However, when the delicate filters inside the kidneys called nephrons start to experience wear and tear or damage, one of the very first abilities they lose is this power of concentration. Because they can no longer concentrate the urine efficiently, they just let the water pass right through. The result, your bladder fills up faster. Even if you haven't been drinking anything extra, you aren't waking up because of your prostate. And you aren't waking up because you drank a little extra water. You are waking up because your kidneys are working overtime but losing their grip on the water balance. If you find yourself making that cold, dark walk down the hallway 2, 3, or 4 times a night, and it's a relatively new pattern over the last few months or years, it's worth paying attention to. It's not a guarantee that your kidneys are failing, not at all, but it is a very common, very gentle tap on the shoulder from your body saying, hey, the filtration system is working a little differently these days. And that brings us to the morning. You've finally gotten up. You make your way to the bathroom. Flip on the light and look in the mirror. Sign number 2 is staring right back at you. You splash some water on your face. Reach for the towel and notice that your eyes look incredibly heavy. The skin around them is swollen and puffy, not just the standard bags under the eyes from a restless night of sleep, but a distinct, noticeable puffiness that seems to surround the whole eye area. What's the first thing we do? We rationalize it. We blame the salty soup we had at a restaurant the night before. We blame allergies. We blame the fact that we were up 3 times in the night to use the bathroom. Women might reach for a cold compress or an eye cream, thinking it's just a cosmetic issue. Men might just splash a little extra cold water, rub their face vigorously, and ignore it completely. But let's go back to that filter we talked about. Your kidneys are like a highly sophisticated sieve. They are supposed to let the bad stuff, the toxins, and the extra water slip through into your urine, while keeping the good stuff securely inside your blood. One of the most important good things your kidneys hold on to is protein. Specifically, a protein called albumin. You can think of albumin as a tiny, invisible sponge floating in your bloodstream. Its job is to hold fluid inside your blood vessels so it doesn't leak out into your surrounding tissues. Now, imagine what happens if that kidney filter gets a little damaged. The holes in the sieve get a little too big. Suddenly, that precious protein starts slipping through the filter and gets flushed down the toilet when you urinate. As your body loses protein, you lose those little invisible sponges in your blood. Without them holding the fluid in place, the water naturally seeps out of your blood vessels and settles into your surrounding tissues. And where does that fluid show up first? Often, it shows up where the skin is the thinnest, the most delicate, and has the most space to stretch right around your eyes. This isn't just about looking tired. That persistent morning puffiness, especially if it doesn't go away after you've been upright for a few hours, might be your body showing you that you are losing something valuable. It's your kidneys saying, I'm having trouble keeping the good stuff inside. It's a fascinating, almost beautiful way the body communicates. It doesn't send an alarm bell. It just shows you a reflection in the mirror that says something has shifted. So, your morning has started. You've noticed the trips to the bathroom at night, and you've seen the puffiness in the mirror. You get dressed, head into the kitchen, and start your day. But as the day goes on, as you move around the house or run your errands, the kidneys continue to send their quiet signals. Some of them hide in the way your clothes fit. Some of them hide in the very air you breathe. And some of them hide right on the surface of your skin. You see, the body is a deeply connected web. When the master filter starts to struggle, the effects ripple outward in ways that seem completely unrelated to a pair of organs in your lower back. You might find yourself scratching an itch that won't go away, or looking at your ankles and wondering why your favorite socks are suddenly leaving deep red indentations. We are going to step out of the morning routine and into the rest of your day to uncover the next subtle signs. Because understanding them changes everything. It takes away the fear of the unknown and replaces it with the power of knowing your own body. As the morning stretches into the afternoon, you've likely forgotten all about the bathroom trips in the dark or the puffiness in the mirror. You're busy. Maybe you ran to the grocery store, spent a few hours working in the garden, or finally got around to organizing that hall closet. By the time 4 or 5 o'clock rolls around, you're ready to sit down. You settle into your favorite armchair, let out a long sigh, and reach down to untie your shoes or slip off your socks. And there it is, the third quiet sign. When you pull your socks off, they leave a deep, red indentation around your ankles. Your calves feel tight, heavy, and a little swollen. If you press your thumb into the skin near your ankle, the dimple stays there for a few seconds before slowly filling back in. What is the natural reaction? We blame gravity. We blame the shoes. We say, well, I've been on my feet all day. Of course they're swollen. Or if you're taking blood pressure medication, you might think it's just a minor side effect. It's incredibly easy to dismiss this because, let's face it, swollen feet are a universal complaint of getting older. But let's look a little deeper at what your kidneys are doing, or rather, what they might be struggling to do. Remember that the kidneys regulate your body's water and salt. They are the ultimate balancing scale for sodium. When kidney function begins to decline, that scale tips. The kidneys can no longer efficiently excrete the extra sodium you take in from your diet. And in the human body, wherever salt goes, water is sure to follow. So, your body starts holding on to excess fluid. And because you've been standing or sitting upright most of the day, gravity does exactly what gravity does. It pulls all that extra, unfiltered fluid down to the lowest point, your feet and ankles. That sock ring isn't just from a tight, elastic band. It is a visible map of fluid retention. It's your body politely telling you that the internal plumbing is backing up just a little bit. While you are sitting in that chair, resting your legs, you might notice something else. And this is the fourth sign, one of the most misunderstood feelings in the aging body. It's the fatigue. Now, I know what you're thinking. I'm over 60. Of course I'm tired. We expect to be tired. We expect that we can't shovel the driveway or chase the grandkids with the same endless energy we had at 35. But the fatigue associated with early kidney trouble is different. It is not the satisfying, muscle-aching tiredness that comes from a hard day's work. It is a profound, heavy exhaustion. It's the kind of tired that sleep doesn't seem to fix. You might wake up after a full 8 hours in bed and still feel like you're dragging a heavy weight behind you. You might find yourself needing to sit down after simply walking up a flight of stairs or taking a shower. To understand why this happens, we have to talk about a secret job your kidneys do, a job that has absolutely nothing to do with making urine. Your kidneys are actually a critical part of how your body breathes. Deep inside the kidneys, there are specialized cells that produce a hormone called erythropoietin, or EPO for short. You can think of EPO as a messenger. It travels from your kidneys straight to your bones, specifically to your bone marrow, and it delivers a very important instruction: make more red blood cells. Red blood cells are the delivery trucks of your body. They carry oxygen from your lungs to your brain, your heart, and your muscles. But when your kidneys are damaged, they produce less of this messenger hormone. The bone marrow doesn't get the signal, so it makes fewer red blood cells. This condition is called anemia, and the result is that your brain and your muscles are literally being starved of oxygen. It's like trying to run an engine with the air intake completely choked off. That heavy, immovable exhaustion you are feeling isn't just age. It's a lack of oxygen on a cellular level, brought on because the quiet organs in your back stop sending the signal to build more delivery trucks. When you realize that, it changes how you view your own tiredness. It's not a personal failing. It's a mechanical shift. Eventually, evening rolls around. It's time for dinner. You sit down to a meal you've loved for years. Maybe it's a nice piece of chicken, or a steak, or just a hearty bowl of stew. You take a bite, and you pause. It just doesn't taste right. This is the fifth sign. You might find that food, especially meat, suddenly tastes like cardboard. Or worse, it leaves a strange, metallic flavor in your mouth, almost like you've been sucking on a penny. At the same time, you might realize you just aren't as hungry as you used to be. The thought of eating a full meal feels overwhelming. It is incredibly common to brush this off. Our taste buds do change as we age. We often need more seasoning, more salt, or more spice to enjoy our food. Sometimes, if we are on new medications, we blame the pills for making our mouths dry or our food taste funny. But when the kidneys are struggling to filter the blood, waste products that should have been flushed down the toilet begin to build up in your bloodstream. This buildup of toxins is called uremia. And these toxins don't just stay in your blood, they circulate everywhere, including to your saliva glands and your taste buds. The metallic taste is the literal taste of those impurities lingering in your system. It can even change the way your breath smells, sometimes giving it a faint, ammonia-like odor. And because your body is circulating these low levels of toxins, your stomach often feels slightly unsettled, which completely kills your appetite. You aren't just becoming a picky eater in your golden years. Your body is actually reacting to a chemical imbalance caused by a struggling filter. After dinner, you might move to the living room to watch the evening news or read a book. As you're sitting there, you find yourself reaching back to scratch your shoulder. A few minutes later, you're scratching your arms, then your shins. This brings us to the sixth sign: severe, persistent, dry, and itchy skin. Now, if you live in a place with cold winters, or if you run the heater a lot, you already know about dry skin. As we get older, our skin naturally loses moisture and produces less oil. It gets thinner. So when you start itching, the first thing you do is head to the pharmacy and buy a big, thick bottle of moisturizing lotion. You rub it on, hoping for relief. But if this itch is related to your kidneys, you'll quickly notice something frustrating. The lotion doesn't work. The itch doesn't go away. That's because the problem isn't on the surface of your skin. The problem is deep underneath it. We've talked about how the kidneys filter out waste and balance sodium, but they also have to balance two very specific minerals in your blood: calcium and phosphorus. These minerals work together to keep your bones strong. When your kidneys start to fail, they lose the ability to flush out excess phosphorus. So, the phosphorus levels in your blood start to climb. When there is too much phosphorus, it pulls calcium out of your bones. And these minerals can actually start to form tiny, microscopic crystals that settle in your skin and tissues. The itch this causes is maddening. It feels deep. It feels like it's inside your body, crawling right under the surface. People with this kind of itch will scratch until they bleed, and they still won't find relief. Because no amount of oatmeal bath or fancy lotion can fix a mineral imbalance in the blood. If you find yourself constantly scratching, and your usual remedies aren't making a dent, it might not be the dry weather. It might be your kidneys asking for help balancing the chemistry in your blood. So far, we've walked through almost an entire day. We've seen how a problem in the lower back can show up as a trip to the bathroom at 3 a.m., a puffy face in the morning, tight shoes in the afternoon, heavy fatigue, a ruined dinner, and an itch that won't stop. The beauty of the human body is how interconnected it all is. Nothing happens in isolation. But there is still one more sign. And this one is perhaps the most direct message your kidneys will ever send you. It doesn't hide in your skin or your taste buds. It shows up exactly where you would expect it to. But it looks so much like an everyday occurrence that millions of people flush it away without a second glance. It brings us right back to where we started this journey, the bathroom. But this time, it's not the middle of the night. It could be any time of day. You finish doing your business. You turn to flush, and you happen to glance down into the bowl. This is the seventh sign. What you see isn't just the normal turbulence of water. You see foam, a thick, persistent layer of bubbles floating on the surface. It might look a little bit like soapy water, or even like the foamy head on top of a draft beer. Now, we all know that a strong stream can cause a few bubbles in the toilet. Or maybe you just dropped a new cleaning tablet into the tank yesterday. That is what your mind immediately jumps to. It's the easiest, most comfortable explanation. But there is a distinct difference between normal water bubbles and the foam we are talking about. Normal bubbles pop and fade away quickly. Kidney-related foam lingers. You might even have to flush twice to get it all to go down. Why does this happen? To understand it, we have to go back to the mirror from this morning, back to those puffy eyes, and back to that word protein. Remember how we talked about albumin, the tiny invisible sponges that are supposed to stay in your blood, but start slipping through the damaged kidney filter well. When that protein gets flushed out of your body, it ends up exactly here, in the bowl. Think about what happens when you crack an egg and separate the egg white, which is pure protein. If you take a whisk and beat that egg white, what happens? It foams up. It gets thick and frothy. The exact same chemical reaction is happening in the toilet bowl. The protein from your blood is reacting with the water, creating a foam that shouldn't be there. Seeing this can be startling, but it is perhaps the most honest, unfiltered message your body can send you. It is the physical evidence of that microscopic filter letting things slip through. Let's take a breath and look back at the day we just walked through. The interrupted sleep, the heavy, puffy eyes in the morning light, the tight shoes and swollen ankles by afternoon, the bone-deep fatigue that a nap can't fix, the sudden change in how your favorite meal tastes, the restless, deep itch that no lotion can soothe, and finally, the foamy water in the bowl. When you look at them one by one, they just seem like the annoying inconveniences of getting older. They are the things we complain about to our friends over coffee. They are the things we learn to live with, because we think we have to. But when you string them together, they aren't just inconveniences. They are a language. Your body is speaking to you. It is trying, with everything it has, to tell you that the quiet, stoic filters in your lower back are working too hard and starting to wear down. I know that talking about this, or even just thinking about it, can bring up a certain kind of fear. When you've lived a full life, when you are in your 60s, 70s, or beyond, the last thing you want is bad news. We often avoid going to the doctor because we are afraid of what they might find. We don't want to be told we have to change our lives. We don't want to lose our independence. We don't want to be a burden. So, we stay quiet. We sit in the examination room. The doctor asks how we are doing, and we smile and say, "Oh, you know, just getting older. I'm fine." But I want to offer you a different way to look at this. Recognizing these signs is not a reason to panic. It is not a guarantee that your kidneys are failing or that you are headed for dialysis. In fact, it is the exact opposite. Catching these whispers early is the greatest protection of your independence. It is your window of opportunity. The kidneys are resilient. If you catch the wear and tear early enough, you can often slow it down, stop it from getting worse, and sometimes even improve how you feel just by making a few shifts. Sometimes it's a simple adjustment to the blood pressure medication you are already taking. Sometimes it's tweaking your diet to give those filters less heavy lifting to do. Sometimes it's just managing your blood sugar a little more closely. But you can't protect what you don't acknowledge. So, what do you do with all this? You don't need to go rush to the emergency room. You don't need to start a crash diet or buy expensive, unproven supplements off the internet that promise to cleanse your kidneys. Those can actually do more harm than good. What you do is take this knowledge, this quiet power, with you to your next regular checkup. When you sit down with your doctor, you don't just say, "I'm fine." You tell them about the foam. You tell them about the fatigue that feels different. You tell them you are getting up 3 times a night. And then you ask for 2 very simple, very standard tests. They aren't invasive, and they aren't scary. First, you ask for a simple blood test to check your EGFR. That stands for Estimated Glomerular Filtration Rate. It sounds complicated, but all it really means is a number that tells you what percentage your kidney filter is working at. It gives you a baseline. Second, you ask for a simple urine test to check for protein. That's it. Those two tests will tell you exactly what is going on behind the walls of that house you've lived in for so long. You have spent decades learning how the world works. If you are a man who has worked with machines or built things, you know exactly what it means when an engine sounds a little bit off, or when a foundation has a tiny crack. You don't wait for the engine to blow to fix it. If you are a woman who has raised a family, you knew exactly what it meant when your child had a certain kind of fever or a specific cry. You didn't wait for it to get worse before you acted. You have all this wisdom, all this life experience. Now, it is simply time to apply that same wisdom to yourself. Your body has carried you through a lot of years. It has healed from cuts, recovered from illnesses, and adapted to every season of your life. It is not failing you now. It is just asking for a little bit of teamwork. Listen to the quiet signs. Pay attention to the subtle changes in your everyday routines. Honor what your body is trying to tell you, because the better you listen to the whispers, the less likely you will ever have to hear it shout.